My pasta with Swiss chard and cannellini beans is a vegetarian dish that comes together quickly and can be served as a main course or a side. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. On this channel, we teach you all about celebrating. We share recipes for food, hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, and we share entertaining tips too. Now, we try and keep it all as simple as possible, especially for those of you out there who say that you just can't cook or entertain, because we know that you really can. So, if you like this episode, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and you'll get a new episode every single week. Today, our celebration is all about a pasta dish using one of my favorite things, Swiss chard. So let's get started. First, what is Swiss chard? You maybe have heard of it, but you don't quite know what it is. This is chard. There are different varieties. There's red chard, which is this. There's Swiss chard, which has a white stem. It's a little wider. Then there's rainbow chard, and that's where the stem and leaves are in different colors. There's red and orange and yellow, and they'll often be bundled all together. This is a big leafy green, kind of in between spinach and kale, but it's actually a member of the beet family. It's really good. So that's what we're using today. Now we're making a pasta dish today, and I'm going to be using rigatoni. This is 8 ounces or 250 grams of uncooked rigatonis. You can use whatever pasta you like. Maybe you like spaghetti, corkscrews, whatever. Use what you like, use what you have. This is what I happen to have today. So I'm going to put this in some water behind me, and then we'll get the rest of it going. All right, I'm going to crank this heat up. I have a nice big pot here. We're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil, a couple of tablespoons. Coat the bottom of the pan. Just like that. Now we're going to start with some onions. I've just got a small onion, medium onion, just cut up roughly. Nothing fancy, no perfect knife skills, just chop it up. Right in. I'm going to hit it with a little pinch of salt just to get the juices flowing. A little stir. Now this is on a medium-high heat. We want to let this go just for a couple minutes. They'll start to turn translucent and maybe even brown a little bit, and that's okay. Okay, these are looking good. They're showing a little color. They're softening a bit, and they're getting some translucency, which means they're almost kind of see-through. Next, I have here the stems of the chard. What I did was I cut the stems off, chopped them up, and kept them separate from the greens because these are going to take a few more minutes to cook than the greens will. Now, if you look, it almost looks like red celery. It's kind of neat. Right in the pot with the onions. And another small pinch of salt. Again, it's going to help it draw the water out, get the flavors going. And we're just going to let this go for a couple minutes and soften. Okay, these are about done. It's been a few minutes. I've got some nice brown onions here. The chard is starting to turn color a little bit. It's getting a little lighter, which means it's cooking, and that's fine. Now we're going to start to add our leafy green part. This is a nice big pot. So I'm going to try and dump it all in. Yeah. You want to make sure you have a pot big enough to get that all in at once, or you can do it in batches, but it's easier if you have a big pot. Now I'm going to add, guess what? A little bit more salt. Now you're probably wondering, it's a lot of salt. It really isn't. Greens take on a lot of salt. Now I've lowered my heat a bit. I'm going to put the cover on. We're going to let this wilt down before we add the rest of the ingredients. I want to get this going. I want that chard leaf to let go of its juices. That's going to be flavor in this sauce. All right, it's just been a minute. Chard is already wilting down, but it's releasing its juices. Smells phenomenal. Let's add the rest of the ingredients. I've got some garlic, 3 cloves, just chopped up, right in. Tomatoes. 3 medium tomatoes, again, roughly chopped up. Nothing fancy, no fancy knife skills. Chop them up. And finally, almost finally, cannellini beans. This is one 15-ounce can or 425 grams of just white cannellini beans. Just dump them out of the can, drain them, quick rinse, they're going in. This is going to make it nice and hearty, provide some protein, which is what we want. It's a quick stir. Now I'm going to add some white wine. I've got 3 ounces, which is 90 mils of a dry white wine. My favorite one. Use what you like. Right in. That's also going to help everything steam. It's going to deglaze the pan a bit. So we're going to let this simmer. It's only going to take a little while. I'm going to clear the decks, check the pasta, and then we're going to put it all together. Alrighty, my pasta's done. My sauce is ready. Let's bring them together. Oh, smells lovely. I'm going to pour my rigatoni right into the sauce. Still a little chewy, but that's what you want because it'll finish cooking in that sauce. Let's get every piece out. All right. Give it a stir. Ooh. Delicious. Now, this is maybe a little dry for me. I like a little moister. I reserved some of the pasta liquid. This is a starchy water. I'm not going to use this whole amount, but I'm going to put a little bit in. Just give it just a tiny bit more moisture. And that little bit of starch in there is going to kind of help it thicken up a bit too. Not so much like it's a gravy, but it'll add a little silkiness to your palate. All right. Almost ready. I have the best part really. 3 ounces of shredded cheese. Add it in. And it's going to all come together, be delicious. Mmm. Look at that. Let's kill the heat. And I think it's time to taste. What do you think? Let's see. I happen to have a plate. No one will notice this little bit that I'm taking out. Colorful, bright, very hot. Let's get some of that chard. A nice piece of pasta. That's really good. This is such a bright, light, healthy dish. It's not fatty like a lot of pasta dishes are. It's not heavy, but it's hearty. The beans give you a little protein, and the greens, that chard, gives such a wonderful flavor. It's complex, it's grassy, it's vegetables. It's really good. And the pasta just soaks up all those flavors. Now, as always, a little sip of wine. That's nice. All right, as always, we will have the recipe and all the instructions up in the video description on YouTube and on our website. And remember, we'll see you on Tuesdays for our regular episodes and Fridays for our basic skills or cocktail episodes. So until next time, you're all invited to come on over, come on in, and let's celebrate. Cheers!